A smoke alarm has one job, and that job is to watch for smoke. And when it's detected, it sounds the alarm. There's not a whole lot of nuance to the system. When smoke is detected, the alarm starts screeching. There's not like different pitches for different types of smoke or a louder alarm if you're in more danger. It's just smoke, alarm. When the smoke alarm goes off, it's your job to look around, gauge the situation and the threat level, and then decide what the appropriate action would be. Your anxiety response system is very similar. Its only job is to detect potential threats or danger to your psychological, physical, or emotional safety. And when your brain catches even the slightest whiff of something that might be a threat to you, everything kicks into gear. You get tunnel vision. Your heart starts beating rapidly. It dumps adrenaline into your body. Your muscles tense up. You get sweaty in all sorts of weird places. You might get a pit in your stomach or a tight chest and tension in your shoulders. So essentially what's happening here is your frontal lobe, or the part of your brain that's responsible for creativity and problem solving and empathy and compassion, like all of the higher functions of the brain, that part of your brain physiologically shuts down and your limbic system kicks into overdrive. And it basically tells your body to go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. And all that it can do is try to keep you alive. It doesn't really matter if you're about to jump out of an airplane or if you're getting mugged or if your partner's hitting you up for sexy time and you're just not in the mood. The response is pretty much the same across the board. The danger is in how we react to that response. Just like you don't want to act like the world is burning down around you every time a smoke alarm goes off, you don't want to act like you're in mortal peril every single time your anxiety response goes off. Otherwise, you're going to be a very miserable person to be around. Now, I talk to a lot of people about anxiety, and it's not uncommon for me to hear people say they just wish they could get rid of their anxiety altogether. And honestly, that's impossible. You can't just get rid of your anxiety. That's a good thing, because if you didn't have an anxiety response, in all likelihood, you'd probably be dead because you would have engaged in some sort of risky behavior, like walking into a busy street without looking both directions or jumping off of a cliff without being worried about hitting the ground. Researchers have literally found an anxiety response in just about every living animal on the planet, even sea slugs. So, nature or God or whatever you believe put it inside of us, that anxiety response, for a reason, and it was to keep us alive. In many ways, your anxiety is a gift. You don't want it to go away, or you'd be in a lot of danger. So, maybe a better question is, how do I make it so that my anxiety isn't always running the show? Or how can I be more conscious of how I react to it, kind of like the smoke alarm analogy? Or even better, how can I make sure that it's not the primary driver in how I make decisions in my relationships and in my life? Ultimately, what I think we all want is to be able to live more of our life in a state of safety and security without freaking out or worrying or fighting with the people that we love or trying to fix every little problem that comes up in our lives or the lives of the people around us, because that is just exhausting. The first thing you need to do to have a better relationship with your anxiety is understand how anxiety works. And we've already started having that conversation in this video, which is a great first step. The next thing you need to do is understand how anxiety creeps up in your life and how it impacts your life. The more I study anxiety, the more I realize that it's a creepy little bastard that just like sneaks its way into all of your decisions and relationships in ways that you don't even notice. And when you start realizing how it's impacting your life and how it's creeping into your choices and your relationships, it's really eye-opening. A lot of times the things that we think that we're doing that are the most sane, rational, logical minded things are actually inspired by anxiety. And remember, when you're feeling anxious, the part of your brain that is responsible for the best parts of you shuts down, and the part of you that kicks into gear is the fight, flight, or freeze, the survival part of your brain. So, as we go through this anxiety series and learn more about anxiety, what it is, how it shows up in our lives, and what we can do about it, one of the harshest realizations that you're going to have is how often you're showing up as the not best version of yourself. I don't want to say worst because we're not always at our worst, but we don't have access to the best of us. And I think that's going to be a little disheartening. So, I want you to be prepared to have a little bit of self compassion as we navigate these conversations and learn more about anxiety. Once you understand what anxiety is and how it shows up in your life, the next thing and the last thing that you need to do is be able to recognize it in the moment, right when it shows up, and know what to do with it so that it doesn't continue to run your life and ruin your relationships and make things generally worse. So that's what we're going to cover in the next couple of videos. But right now, what I want you to do is think about your own internal smoke alarm. When it goes off, do you have a tendency to freak out and pretend like the world is burning down around you? Are you able to gather yourself and take a deep breath and assess the situation and respond from a little bit more of a rational and composed state? Are there specific people or events that you're a little bit more sensitive to that trigger that smoke alarm in your brain a little bit more easily? When your anxiety response is triggered, do you tend to be more of a fight, a flight, or a flee person? And what does that look like for you? What does it feel like in your body? What are the emotions and sensations that you feel when your anxiety response gets triggered? These are all great things to help start creating awareness around that smoke alarm that goes off in your head from time to time, or maybe far more often than you would like. So, what I really want you to focus on over the next couple of days and weeks is, what is your relationship with that internal smoke alarm really like? I'd love to hear any takeaways, any thoughts or insights that you have down in the comments. Did you enjoy this clip? If you learned something valuable, I hope I was able to earn your subscription today.